Hello, guys, from this beautiful valley in Lauterbrunnen. This is in Switzerland, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about philosophy. Right? Let's see. When you study philosophy, I think it's always good. When you study any philosophy, there are many philosophies in the world. Uh, there's ancient Greek, there's Chinese, Western philosophy, of course, great thinkers from Greece to Germany, of course, American, British. I think one thing that is you know, worth knowing right at the start is the way to study philosophy, and that's where this talk is about. That's what this talk is about, and I would say in my learnings, I have realized that the best way to study, because there's so many, it's offering sort of overwhelming. You don't sort of get a sense of what or like really how to approach it, really. So for that purpose, I realized that the best way to do it is to focus on two things specifically. One, metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics. These are three things that will really help you understand any philosophy of the world. So let's go. Metaphysics one. I think that's really important because metaphysics is, really concerns itself with four questions that people think of when they talk of philosophy. Things like, does God exist? What is this universe made of? Is there a soul? What happens after we die? Answers the question related to spirituality or versus, sort of material existence. Uh, uh, you know, what is this universe made of? What are we made of? What is life? A lot of that is answered through metaphysics and, of course, now also through physics. So, metaphysics, I would argue, is just an extension of physics. Physics obviously is based on the scientific principle. Everything has to be proved, and for some things we just don't know how to prove those things. So that's where metaphysics comes into the picture. For example, you can't prove it just yet if there is a soul, if humans have a soul, or are we just made up of particles? Is it just this body and this mind? Uh, that's all what there is, or is there something non-material to us? Is there a non-material consciousness? And then there are many theories to it, of course, but every philosophy that you study will, of course, have a metaphysics attached to it. Some would argue that there is consciousness, some would argue that there is consciousness alone, some would argue that there is a duality. Not going into details, more videos on each philosophy and the metaphysics of each philosophy to come in the future, hopefully. But yeah, metaphysics is something that you should definitely focus on when you study your philosophy. Other than that, the second and also equally important, I would say, uh, topic would be epistemology. How do we know that which we know? What are the valid sources of knowledge? Uh, and that is actually really important as well because every philosophy relies on knowledge to sort of make predictions, make assertions, come up with theories, hypotheses, things like that. So, what are the valid sources of knowledge as per each philosophy? And that is what epistemology deals with. And it's equally important, as important, I would say, as metaphysics really, because if you claim something, how do you know that which you claim to know really? And that really makes it important. So now in different branches of philosophy, you go to different sources of knowledge which are accepted. Commonly in Indian philosophy, just as an example, there are 6 valid sources of knowledge. I'm not going to give you all those sources now, maybe in a future video again, but do you just rely on your senses or do you rely on influence, or do you accept scriptures as a valid source of knowledge? So this is what epistemology deals with. And finally, ethics. That's more to do with how do you know, once you have accepted a certain philosophy, now what do you do with it? How do you live your life? What are the best ways to live your life? So ethics, morality, that's the next way to sort of approach the study of philosophy. So in here you will encounter questions like, you know, how should you behave? How should you treat others? Compassion, different aspects of mind. What should you do? What should you say? What should you eat? And it's all experimentation really. But yeah, ethics is the last thing that you ought to study. So once again, super quick recap: metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics. Three valid ways to approach any philosophy. Any philosophy that you study, always look out for these three things, make some notes, and then it will sort of give you a starting point to really study that philosophy and understand it. Now I will just continue when I walk here. As I said, I'm in the beautiful mountains of Sicily, Lautizum, and fortunately the sun is out today, so it's really a serene walk. I'm just going to turn back here. There's a river. It's really gushing to my left, and the sun is out. Mountains are spectacular. There are waterfalls everywhere. Look forward to a day of exploring. But for now,